Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
Okay, so what if there was like a single number that could give you a real shortcut? A way to understand a wide receiver's potential for NFL success, especially, for your fantasy team.
Right. That's kind of the dream, isn't it? Finding that one edge.
Exactly. Well, welcome to this deep dive. Today we're digging into some fascinating research on speed score. Now, this metric, it tries to measure a receiver's straight line speed, but relative to their weight.
Yeah, it's not just about the 40-yard dash time in a vacuum. It's about how explosive that speed is, considering the player's actual size.
So our mission here is to figure out, does this one number actually predict success down the line? How much does it really matter? And what does the data say makes a good score?
And the speed score is interesting because it's getting at that functional athleticism. How fast is this player for their size? That's the question the research really dives into. Can it predict fantasy points for these wideouts?
Okay, the idea sounds good, but how did they actually test this? How did the researchers approach trying to measure its real impact?
Well, the approach was pretty thorough. They did a big data analysis looking at the top 50 PPR fantasy finishers every single season going back to 2003.
20 years of data, basically. Wow.
Yeah, quite a bit. And they picked that top 50 range specifically, kind of as a happy medium. It lets you filter out the real fringe guys, but still gives you enough players to make meaningful comparisons between the very top, like the top 10, and the guys who just scraped in, say, 41st to 50th.
Gotcha. That makes sense comparing the best to the, still pretty good. So with all that data, did patterns jump out quickly? What did the numbers show right away?
Well, it wasn't like a perfect lock, not a one-to-one thing, but a pretty clear general trend did pop up.
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At brainyballers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting ability so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance, and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
Players with higher speed scores, they generally finished higher in the fantasy rankings. Looking at the specifics, in 13 out of the 21 seasons analyzed.
So most of them.
Yeah. Right, that's about 62% of the time the top 10 guys actually had a higher average speed score than the receivers finishing down in that 31st to 50th group. The obvious next question is, what's the magic number? Is there an optimal range we should be looking for?
Yeah, good question. Initially, the analysis kind of pointed towards 95 and above being a strong signal, but they dug deeper, fine-tuned it a bit more, and the data really zeroed in on an optimal range of 97 and above. And that specific threshold, 97 plus, it proved really significant. Players hitting that mark showed a 16.4% higher rate of appearing in the top 10 compared to those bottom 10 guys, the 41 to 50 group. So that really validates 97 and up as a pretty powerful threshold for finding guys capable of consistent top-level performance.
Wow, 16.4% higher chance of being top 10. That's significant. But how strong is this link statistically? Did they put a number on that correlation?
They did. They calculated a Pearson value, which basically measures how strongly two things are linked. And they found a Pearson value of 0.138.
Okay, 0.138. How good is that in this context?
Well, context is key here. For metrics involving world-class athletes, you often look for a minimum of around 0.1 for it to be considered meaningful. And just to give you a comparison, something like quarterback draft capital, which everyone agrees is important, its correlation with future success showed a Pearson value of about 0.219, so 0.138 for speed score. That's actually quite significant. It shows a real, meaningful, consistent link to future fantasy production.
That's interesting. And is this something that's held true consistently over that whole 20-year period, or has it changed?
That's maybe one of the most compelling parts. They found that this optimal 97 plus range isn't just static, it's actually an increasing trend. In the most most recent decade of the study, hitting that 97-plus mark showed up 13.5% more frequently among top performers.
Well, really? So it's becoming more important over time?
It certainly seems that way. It suggests the metric is perhaps getting even more reliable as an indicator of elite performance. Maybe reflecting, how the NFL game itself is changing, possibly valuing that speed-size combo even more now.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. What does this actually mean for you, the listener? Whether you're prepping for a draft or just trying to get smarter, it sounds like SpeedScore isn't, a silver bullet, right? It won't magically tell you who's guaranteed to finish top 10.
Exactly right. It's not a standalone predictor, but think about where its value really comes in. It's when you're stuck, maybe deciding between two players who look pretty similar otherwise, or you're just trying to build a full picture of a specific prospect. Seeing a standout speed score, especially that 97 or higher mark, that can be a really valuable piece of evidence to tip the scales. The data strongly suggests it's a common trait, a shared characteristic, among the league's very best wide receivers. It adds another important layer to your analysis.
Yeah, it gives you another data point, another angle to consider. It makes those draft day decisions maybe a little bit less of a coin flip sometimes. So, wrapping up this deep dive, the numbers are pretty clear. A wide receiver's speed score, it does seem to matter. Not as the only thing, definitely not, but as a significant piece of the puzzle, especially when you see that 97 and above score. It's just another tool, another layer to help you be more informed when you're evaluating players, trying to understand what drives performance. So here's something to think about. What stands out to you when you hear about specific data points like this, like speed score? How it can kind of shift our understanding of athletic performance. And are there maybe other subtle metrics out there, things we aren't looking at closely enough that could unlock even deeper insights, not just in sports, but maybe elsewhere too? Something to chew on.